Hello and welcome back to another episode of I'm Not Some Internet Troll That Lives in His Mom's Basement. My room is upstairs, the basement is just where I record my videos. Once again, I am late to the party on this subject, but I have a really tough time letting things go and get annoyed easily. Now last week I teased in my video about the time LEGO fans bullied LEGO into making a set, and the events that followed, and how that whole thing could warrant its own video. Well, here's that video. This is LEGO Set 75280, or the 501st Legion Clone Troopers. But everyone calls it the 501st Battle Pack, even though it's not technically a battle pack. What is a battle pack? Good question. A battle pack is a relatively inexpensive LEGO Star Wars set that includes 4 characters and a side build. They're popular among fans because they are a cheap way to build armies or get desirable characters that were otherwise only available in more expensive sets. But like I said, this thing isn't technically a battle pack, but everyone calls it one anyway, and it started a war among the LEGO community. Okay, this is probably the most minor issue in all of this. And to all the people that correct other people when they call it a battle pack, you must be fun at parties. Okay, so far this video is really boring, but I assure you, this story gets way more interesting. Just bear with me. Now, you might be thinking I was exaggerating when I said that they bullied LEGO into making this set. I'm not. So, let's talk about that. This is Ryan from the YouTube channel M&R Productions. You might recognize him from my last video where I was kind of poking fun at him. Now there's a good chance I'll probably rip on him again in the future, so to avoid being labeled a bully myself, I'll give his channel a shout out. There, now I am completely off the hook. Ryan's definitely not my favorite LEGO YouTuber, but he is probably the most popular LEGO Star Wars YouTuber, and one of the most popular LEGO YouTubers in general. In other words, he has a lot of influence in the LEGO community. On December 7th, 2018, he released this video. In the video, he told fans to comment on LEGO's social media posts that they wanted a 501st Battle Pack. Now, he wasn't the first to ask people to do that. However, he had the biggest following of anyone. If people had just spammed one post, then I wouldn't call it bullying, and it's hard to say whether this actually is bullying. However, people commented it on every single post for like months. I get that LEGO is a company and not a person, but wasn't that still harassment? It's a bit of a gray area. Can people cyberbully a company? Who knows? But it's safe to say there's no way LEGO could ignore them. On April 2nd, 2020, LEGO posted this. So that was that. The prayers had been answered, everyone was happy, and not a single person complained about anything. Of course they complained. About really stupid things, too. This is so frustrating. LEGO bent over backwards to deliver something fantastic for their fans that literally harassed them into making in the first place. And the fans still complained. Some people complained that it took them way too long to deliver. Now, I said in the last video that it took 1 to 2 years for a set to become a set. They didn't just have the set sitting in the back waiting for a bunch of people to request it. They wanted to release a quality product, and designing that takes time. I think they did a fantastic job. The designers really took care into making something that looks great. Sure, the builds are bigger than they appear in the shows, but what else would you like them to do? If they made the builds smaller, the set would have less pieces and people would complain about it being too expensive, which they did anyway. As far as I can tell, the prices of a set are determined before they begin designing the builds anyway, and the reason they actually make the vehicles larger is so that they are easier to play with. Because they're designed for children. Nobody complains that minifigs aren't to scale. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think this is the greatest set of all time. This is. But I really don't think they could have done a better job with it. They clearly listen to their fans, so it's really frustrating when people act like a bunch of Karens. Anyway, I think that's enough grumbling about this. Didn't I mention a mass hysteria? Then there was the time that there was mass hysteria as everyone tried to get the set that they bullied LEGO into making. I did. Let's talk about that. Now, there was obviously a lot of demand for the set before it was even announced. Because they harassed them. So when it finally was announced, to say there was a lot of hype for it would be a bit of an understatement. Now, the set was supposed to be released in the United States on August 1st, but because of COVID, LEGO had to push the release date to September 1st instead, although some stores would have it go on sale a bit earlier. Well, September 1st rolls around, and they literally sold out in 10 minutes. Not just on the LEGO website, the whole entire world ran out of them almost instantly. How did this happen? Everyone that didn't get one asked. said everyone who bought like 15 of them. How did you say? Out loud, asked everyone else. That's exactly what went down, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Anyway, a lot of people were annoyed at the people buying ludicrous amounts. The people buying ludicrous amounts got defensive, saying that it was their money and they could do what they want with it. And furthermore, if you snooze, you lose. That would be a fair defense if the target audience of this product wasn't children. I couldn't imagine being like 10 and trying to get this thing. If I wanted to order something online as a kid, it was like a 2 to 3 business day process. I had to have the money, find the right website, get the website ready, find a parent, convince them that yes, I really want this thing, and that I won't forget about it in a week. Usually get told to have your dad help you when he gets home from work. Wait for dad, go through the whole process again with dad. One more, are you sure this is what you want? And then finally, the order would be placed. I couldn't even imagine asking a parent to stay up until the product goes on sale. I would have probably been grounded if I woke up my parents to enter their credit card, and by then it would have been too late anyway. They do sell them at stores, so maybe 10-year-old me could go to the store. Oh yeah, that's right, I need a parental unit to drive me. What do you mean you're not able to take me to the store until after work? Not to mention the fact that this all happened during a pandemic. Maybe you managed to get to the store, and this happens. My point is, people forget that ultimately this is a children's toy, and children don't have the same luxuries that adults do. And people have every right to criticize the people who bought as many as they could when they first came out. For the next few months, the set was nearly impossible to find. Another frustrating thing that people did was blamed LEGO for not having enough stock in the first place. You've got to remember though, this was during a pandemic. Like, that was the entire reason the set was delayed a month. Obviously, they knew there was a ton of demand for the product, but when you buy 10 or more at a time, they're not going to be able to keep up. Eventually things calmed down, and now you can find it most places. So you're probably not wondering how I got mine, and if I stayed up late on September 1st to get it, but I wanted to talk about it anyway. I did not stay up late to try and get it, because I actually managed to get it early. Completely by accident. On August 12th, I needed a weird battery that we didn't have at home. I checked online, and my local Target had some in stock. My plan was to just get the battery and go home, so I checked the battery place that's at the front of the store. It's not there. I checked the next battery place in the store. Not there either. I knew the store had them, so I went to the back of the store to the electronics, which also happens to be next to the toys. There I finally find my battery that I needed and was ready to go check out. I still wasn't planning on stopping to look at the Legos, and was going to pass the aisle by. A flash of yellow caught my eye. So I looked, and right there in the aisle was this set. Now this set obviously isn't the one I've been talking about this whole time, but it had the same release date as set 75280, and was also on my list of sets I wanted. I stopped and looked around, and sure enough, right there, was not just a row of 501st Legion clone troopers, but also a row of the new and also highly desirable AAT. This was all 3 days before they were supposed to be released. I only grabbed one of each so that hopefully other people would get the same joy I did. And not at all because I was too poor to afford more. Yeah, not a super exciting story, but it's the story I'm going to tell anyone who will listen to me when I'm old and senile. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Thomas Mancala. Goodbye.